November 11th, 1918. The guns of the Great War finally fell silent. But the silence was not peace. Across Europe, soldiers stumbled home to find ruins where cities once stood. Empires that had ruled for centuries were gone, replaced by hunger, revolution, and grief. The war that was meant to end all wars had left a world that no longer recognized itself. From the ashes of destruction rose a new era, uncertain, fragile, and full of promise and danger. Nations were reborn, old powers faded, and a new world order began to take shape. This was not the end. It was the beginning of everything that followed. Welcome to History War Chronicles, and today we explore Aftermath of WW1, A New World Begins. Part 1. The World in Ruins. When the Great War ended, victory felt hollow. Europe lay in ruins. More than 20 million were dead, countless more wounded, and entire cities turned to dust. The lost generation returned home to silence. No parades, no joy, just emptiness. In France and Belgium, towns vanished from the map. The soil was poisoned, the fields still littered with shells. In Germany, Austria, and Russia, famine stalked the people. Even the victors, Britain and France, faced bankruptcy and sorrow. The war had not only destroyed land, it had shattered the human spirit. The old world, built on kings and empires, was gone. We came home, but home was gone. Across the continent, people asked the same question: what was it all for? The answer came not in words, but in what followed: a desperate attempt to rebuild peace, to forge order from chaos. Part 2. The Treaty That Shaped the World. In 1919, the victors gathered at the Palace of Versailles. Their mission: to build a lasting peace. Their result was a peace built on bitterness. The Treaty of Versailles punished Germany severely, stripping its colonies, reducing its army, and demanding crushing reparations. The German people, already starving, felt humiliated. The seeds of revenge were quietly sown. Meanwhile, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was dissolved. New nations, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, were born overnight. But the borders drawn by diplomats often ignored the people living there, setting the stage for future conflict. The Ottoman lands were carved up by the Allies, creating artificial states under Western control. Promises made to Arabs during the war were broken, fueling anger that burns to this day. Narrator, somberly: the men of Versailles believed they were ending war forever. But history would remember it differently. Their treaty ended one conflict and planted the seeds of another. Part 3. A Changing World. Out of the ruins, the 1920s emerged, a decade of contrast and transformation. Industry roared back to life. Airplanes connected continents, radios carried voices across oceans, and women, who had worked in factories during the war, now demanded rights of their own. The old hierarchies were fading, and a new social order was taking shape. But beneath the surface, wounds still bled. In Germany, inflation devoured savings. In Russia, civil war raged as the Bolsheviks seized control, promising a workers' paradise and delivering a new kind of tyranny. Across the Atlantic, America rose as the new global power, untouched by the ruin of Europe. It was the dawn of modernity, fast, loud, uncertain. The Great War had broken the old world, but in its fragments, the modern world was born. Part 4. Shadows of the Future. Hope and fear walked side by side. The League of Nations was founded, humanity's first great experiment in collective peacekeeping. Its goal? To prevent another global war. But it was too weak, too idealistic, and too divided. The world was still haunted by the ghosts of 1914. In Italy, Benito Mussolini rose to power, preaching strength and nationalism. In Germany, economic collapse and humiliation gave rise to extremist movements, the most dangerous of which carried a symbol of twisted pride: the swastika. The same anger that ended one age was about to ignite another. By the 1930s, a new storm was brewing. The Great War had not ended history. It had merely set the stage for the next catastrophe, the war that never truly ended. The Great War ended more than a century ago, yet its echoes still shape our world. The borders, the ideologies, even the lessons of peace and power, all were born in its aftermath. The world of today, modern, fragile, divided, began with the guns of 1914 and the silence of 1918. The war that was meant to end all wars never truly ended. This is History War Chronicles. Until next time, remember, every ending is only the beginning of a new chapter in history.